Hey Pancakes, what's up with you guys? I am here for week 2 of my countdown to Dragon Con series, and this week we're going to be talking about how to cosplay on a budget, because if you're like me, then you're probably really cheap, and it's really hard to cosplay when it's a very expensive hobby and you don't have any money. So hopefully with these tips, you guys can have a bit of an easier time when you are looking for stuff when you start your costumes. So let's get started. So first off, I would definitely recommend watching stores for coupons and or signing up for memberships at stores like Joann's if they offer it, because those are great ways to be reminded of coupons, and then then you can plan your trips out from that point to go get the fabric that you need. If you don't have a membership to a store like Joann's and you go shopping there randomly, you might not be aware that they have like so many coupons going on, and then you'll miss out and not get as much off of your purchase as you normally would. And I'm sorry if my hair looks really crazy. I'm trying. So I'd also recommend if fabric is on sale, definitely get a little bit more than you would need, because you never know when it could come in handy. Fabric, especially when it's on sale, is always fun to get more of, because then you might mess up on your costume and then you have all that extra fabric left over. So when you do invest in fabric and it's on sale, I definitely recommend getting more of it just in case, because you just never know. Thrifting is an easy way to start cosplaying. In fact, that's how most people start out cosplaying, and I still use thrifting to this day. I made most of my Elizabeth costume from thrifted items. You know, some people think that's kind of cheap and everything, and that's kind of, you know, what I do. I'm cheap. But as long as my costume looks good to me, I don't really care what anyone else thinks. So I definitely recommend it if you want to be really cheap, because you never know what you could find at a thrift store, and you could create a whole costume from stuff that's in Goodwill. It's kind of awesome like that. When you are shopping online, I would definitely recommend searching very thoroughly, especially if you're trying to pick out things that you want to get that might be in stores, just because online can have better options for you and free shipping, and you never know what's going to be out there. eBay has been a great help for me when I cosplay, just because I get most of my stuff from there, and you can, if you're really smart and you spend like a good hour searching on eBay, you can find stuff that's got free shipping and is only like $5 or less than that, and it's a really big help. Some of it can have a bit of long shipping just because it is free, but at the same time, you know, if you plan ahead and you don't start your costume, you know, 2 weeks before the convention, then it shouldn't really be too much of an issue for you when you do go shopping. Now, this is really a tip that I've learned over the past year. If you go shopping for fabric, do not get broadcloth unless you're trying to make like a template, or maybe you want to make a sample of your costume or something like that, because broadcloth has no stretch in it, and the price of it is so tempting because it's normally really cheap, like under $5 per yard, which sounds amazing, but you're paying for what you get, unfortunately, and it has no stretch in it whatsoever. And even though the colors seem amazing and you could find the color that would work perfectly for your costume, it's just not worth getting it, because there's really nothing good that broadcloth can do with costumes that I have seen in my experience thus far. If you've seen any differently, then let me know. When you do go shopping for fabric, be sure to invest in the fabric, but don't spend a crazy amount of money on things like zippers or thread or needles or something like that, because if you follow your instincts and something seems wrong about what you're spending on your thread or needles or zippers, then follow that, because most of the time you can get it cheaper somewhere else. Like the price at Joann's may be completely different from the price at Walmart, but it's still the same thing. So I would go with the cheaper option if I were you, just because every little bit of saving money helps, and you want to put like the money that you do have towards the more expensive parts of your costumes, like having a really nice fabric for it. So invest in the fabric, but don't spend a lot on the small details, because they're really the same in every other store that you go to, and they're normally cheaper too. Another thing I would mention is, if you have friends who are cosplayers, or just people in general that you know that are very okay with sharing, ask them if there's anything that they have that would be good for your costume, because that's a really easy way to save money, and most of the time the things that the people give to you are things that they might not want anymore, so they're trying to get rid of it or something like that, and it's really a big help when you can just get something for free. just because, and when people know about your hobby, at least in my experience, they're normally really intrigued and or they want to help you out with it in some way. And so be like, hey, if you have a pair of shoes that you don't want anymore, give them to me because I will take those off your hands. And it's really just like the cheapest way that you could get stuff for free. Even asking for fabric and stuff like that, if you have friends who sew like quilts, like you never know what you can get until you ask, and that's like, take the initiative and ask your friends if they have any stuff that you can take from them. So really that's all that I have to offer you guys when it comes to being really cheap. It really is just about planning really wisely when you spend your money, and from that point you're really good to go. If you guys have any other tips, leave it in the comments, because I'm sure, like the rest of the people in the world, any help is good help, and it's nice to see what other cosplayers have to say about being really thrifty and stuff like that, because there's so many things that you can do to be cheap, but those are just the things that I have learned over my experience. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. That would be really helpful for me. I have big plans for you guys next week. I've planned out every single video that I'm going to film, so stay tuned and subscribe wherever that button is. I don't really know. And I will see you guys next week.